It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 26th day of April 2023. Coming to you from Central Virginia, Bedford County, right near Lynchburg. And I hope my friend Dennis makes it on the show today, because I have an interesting little anecdote for him. My niece came downstairs this morning and said, are you in a mood for lox and bagels? And I said, well, of course. She said, well, I'm going to go get us some. I said, all right. Just recently, they opened a pretty good sized bagel establishment in Lynchburg. And I don't know if they're importing slimy water from Brooklyn or what, but boy, their bagels are good. I mean, they're just they taste as close to a New York bagel as I've ever had here in Lynchburg. So she went to get lox and bagels. Well, it had so much smoked salmon on it, I would have been happy with about half as much. I mean, it was like, yo thick. But boy, was it good. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I didn't not eat all the extra smoked salmon. I ate it all. But boy, it was quite a treat this morning. One of my favorites, and one that, when I'm here, I usually don't, I never get that in Lynchburg. It's just not, where the few places that have it, it's mostly not real good. But this was outstanding. So, all right. Friday evening, 7:00. Don't be late. Mr. Bucket List and I are going to do a little live stream on the upcoming cruise on the 1st on the Norwegian Joy that he and I are co-hosting. We're going to go over the things of, where we're going to get together on the ship and when, and some of the things we're going to do to start off till we get on board to see exactly what we've got and what we're going to deal with. We've got a pretty nice size, it's a small group, but it's not bad. We've got about 14 cabins in our group, plus Mr. Bucket List and I. And then we've also got, we've made contact with a couple of other groups that are on the ship and are in the solo categories. We're going to hook up with the Norwegian meetups for solos, hopefully join up with their group. So we're looking forward to it's a really fun cruise. Those of you that follow me on my blog have seen that I've posted 2 posts now. I posted one this morning from Cologne, Panama, and one yesterday from Puerto Limon, Costa Rica, with some accessible excursions, because I have been unable to find accessible excursions for 2 years now, or very few of them. Even the ones on Norwegian, I went through their normal thing, and most of them say they're not suitable for wheelchair users. So to actually discover some that are wheelchair accessible is terrific. That's no guarantee, folks. I have not been on these. I know, I've got to explore some more when I get to these places. But yeah, it looks like I'm starting to find some accessible excursions now. So I'm looking forward to that. I've tentatively got one picked out for both Puerto Limon and one for Cologne. The next one will be in Cartagena. Cartagena, I'm not as worried about taking an excursion as I want to duplicate what I did when I was there a month ago and didn't have my phone. So, but we'll do a little study on that as well, maybe for tomorrow. But anyway, Mr. Bucket List and I will be live at 7 o'clock on Friday. We're inviting not only our group, but any of the other folks that are on board the Norwegian Joy on May the 1st. Join in just to meet some people, see some names, see some faces. That'd be fine. Or if you're just interested possibly in doing a hosted solo cruise or a hosted double occupancy cruise, either one, and just want to check it out, come on. You're more than welcome. If you have not done so yet, folks, thumbs up are always appreciated. And if you have not subscribed, that would be wonderful. Hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when I go live or when a new video is posted. Today, folks, is National Pretzel Day. I can deal with that. As a matter of fact, I went into the kitchen this morning and checked to see if we have any pretzels in the house. We don't. So if I partake in that today, it means I got to go out to the store, which is doubtful. But it's National Pretzel Day, so if you're where you can get the one, go have a pretzel. That would be lovely. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for travel and cruise industry news on all the big hitters. It's registered on all of them. And the Fat Travel Guy will pop up. If you're ever listening to the podcast and want to hop over to the video feed just to take a look at pictures or clips that I might be showing from that day's show, there's always a link in the description of the podcast to do just that. All right. And the other thing is tomorrow we will have the Cruise Amigos at 11:30 Amigo John's time, 12:30 p.m. my time, and 5:30 p.m. Amigo Martin's time over on the other side of the pond. And you never know what we end up talking about on the Cruise Amigos. It's just whatever fate leads us. That's the way we go. We could very well talk about the Cruise Amigos cruising Alaska. We still have openings on that. If you're interested, just let me know. We have solo cabins that start at $628 per cabin, plus the ports and taxes and stuff. It's about $250 gets added onto that. And then if you want to do excursions, we've got a bunch of excursions you can book. We can, if you want to do the drinks package, I think it's everything. The everything package is something like, I don't know, $62 a day or something. I don't know. But anyway, all that information's there. It's on the Sapphire Princess. It sails on the 30th of August. Got some solo cabins, got some ocean view cabins. I think there's still one balcony left. But anyway, we've got some cabins available. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description of today's show to get you over to the website for information and to book, or to get information and think about booking, whichever. We'll probably end up talking about that some because we missed talking about it last week. Of course, John wasn't there last week. But at any rate, that's coming up tomorrow. All right. The top story today, folks, this has just become known literally to me overnight. It actually happened some time ago, but for some reason it seems that in the information world it's just coming out. Now maybe some folks on the other side of the pond knew about this because of the person involved. I did not. A gentleman, a 72-year-old pensioner from Swindon, England, who thought he was going on the adventure of a lifetime, 100+ day voyage around the world with P&O. Miscommunication turned the adventure into every cruiser's worst nightmare. About halfway through the trip, this gentleman, and I'm not using his name for privacy issues, this gentleman experienced nausea and lightheadedness, says he was instructed by the ship's doctor to seek medical attention at a hospital when the ship docked at Palawan in the Philippines. The hospital staff ran a series of tests just to confirm the gentleman was suffering from a light heat stroke. It's unclear how long he was kept there, but by the time he returned to the port, he discovered his ship left without him. He was then 7,000 miles from home and has a fear of flying, and the ship's gone. He said he was never fully checked out by the cruise medical staff, and the island nurses would not let him leave until the tests were completed. While most cruisers' mind would immediately race to crucial items left in their stateroom, like passports or money, this gentleman is a diabetic and had to come to terms with the fact that his insulin was sailing away from him. With his blood sugar running low, he was able to return to the hospital and actually fell into a hyperglycemic shock and then a brief diabetic coma. He recovered the next morning, waking up to the nightmare once again. While the situation was even more difficult because of his fear of flying, standing nearly on the exact opposite side of the world meant that his ship was the preferred method to get home. He spent several days in Palawan in order to receive necessary medical care. He said he was able to enjoy his time there, especially the people. He was later transferred to Manila and then back to England on a plane, of course. After he was cleared to fly, doctors sedated him and escorted him for the long-haul flight. He arrived home 4 weeks after being left behind. That poor guy. He said he enjoyed the first half of his lifetime adventure and intends to continue cruising in the future. I'm not so sure I would after that incident. But he and his family are still furious at P&O for failing in their duty, so I agree with that. It's unclear if he retrieved all his stuff from the ship or how things will be settled with the cruise line. Of course, P&O is UK-based cruise line. It's owned by Carnival. Cruise line operates a fleet of 7 ships, and they offer all different types of voyages, including world cruises, mainly based out of Southampton. Stranded 7,000 miles from home with a fear of flying. Wow. All right, guys. I'll be back after this.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
Even when I'm not in a good mood, that puts me in a good mood. Yeah, I'll be on my Scootaround scooter. Yeah, less than a week now. All right, next story this morning has to deal with Princess Cruise Line. They have become the official cruise vacation partner for the Porsche Club of America, a move that builds upon the existing relationship established last year. The announcement was made at the PCA, that would be the Porsche Club of America, annual Works reunion, which gathered in Florida, where Jill Whalen, the Princess Celebrations ambassador, and Ruby Princess ship captain Mariotani unveiled plans for the 150,000 plus members to enjoy various benefits. Among the exclusive perks for Princess Cruisers registered as PCA members are access to special PCA-themed cruises, increased presence at car shows and conventions, and vacations deal via a personal travel concierge dedicated to PCA members. Pretty cool when you get somebody like Porsche involved in cruises. That's pretty awesome. All right, don't go away. I'll be back with more of today's news right after a word from one of our network sponsors. And the next story this morning has to do with our friends over at Norwegian. Of course, I'll be on Norwegian coming this next week. The Norwegian Sun, currently sailing on a 20-night Panama Canal cruise, has experienced technical issues since April 24th during its stop in Cartagena, Colombia. The problems have led to power outages and the air conditioning system going offline. In Colombia, that could be kind of dicey. Although technical teams have worked diligently to resolve the situation, the ship remained docked in Cartagena yesterday. Just days after departing from Miami, guests on board the Sun have been quite literally left in the dark, as the 78,000 gross ton Sky-class ship has been experiencing the difficulties. Norwegian Sun's captain, Maxim Kiselov, sent a letter to guests yesterday stating that a stay in Cartagena would be extended due to the technical problems. However, the issues appear more severe than initially anticipated, as the cruise ship remains docked in Cartagena. Consequently, the Panama Canal transit scheduled for yesterday has to be rescheduled for later this week, hopefully. In the letter, Captain Kiselov expressed his regret for the inconvenience, informed guests that the all-aboard time for the day was extended to midnight to allow for more exploration of Cartagena. Norwegian Sun itinerary covers multiple ports from the 21st to May 11th. Cruise began in Miami, followed by the now extended stop in Cartagena. From Cartagena, the cruise was scheduled to visit Punta Arenas, Costa Rica, that's on the Pacific side, and San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. Subsequent stops include Acayutla, El Salvador, Puerto Quetzal, Guatemala, and then in Mexico at Huatulco, Manzanilla, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas. Then it hops up to Victoria, British Columbia, and arrives in Seattle on May the 11th. It remains unclear how the delay in Cartagena and rescheduling of the Panama Canal transit will affect the remaining itinerary of the Norwegian Sun cruise. Guests eagerly await updates on any possible changes to the schedule and how the cruise line plans to accommodate them. So, I mean, obviously, if these folks are planning on this going all the way to Seattle, hopefully, I mean, there'll be time for them to make up to the end of the cruise on time, but who knows about the ports. But we're just going to have to wait and see when they actually get the boat going again. So, all right. The next story this morning has to deal with our friends over at Carnival. And this is one people aren't going to like. Carnival Cruise Line has begun testing extra charges for Chibang, a specialty restaurant on board the line's 2 XL class ship, the Mardi Gras and Carnival Celebration. Carnival Cruise Line has recently begun adding a surcharge to some meals at Chibang on board Mardi Gras. While all guests can still enjoy one complimentary dinner at the restaurant per sailing, as well as unlimited lunch visits with no charge, the second, third, or more dinner visits now have an $8 per guest surcharge. The cruise line is testing out this new charge at the moment only on Mardi Gras, though the restaurant is also present on Celebration and will be part of the dining lineup on the upcoming Carnival Jubilee as well. Chibang is a unique dual menu dining venue featuring both Chinese and Mexican dishes, but not a fusion style menu. Instead, guests can select from both menus for appetizers and entrees, enjoying either Chinese or Mexican tastes or both. Specialty desserts are also included. And finally, today, over the weekend, the MSC and their partner with the New York Knicks came together to put Junior Knicks basketball clinic aboard the MSC Meraviglia. The clinic for budding sports stars between ages of 8 and 14 took place on the vessel's onboard basketball court during the ship's inaugural Brooklyn Cruise Terminal docking. The Junior Knicks organization brought together youth basketball enthusiasts from Madison Square Boys Club and Girls Club and SCO Family of Services for the recent sports clinic hosted aboard the MSC Meraviglia. Kids and teenagers alike, keen on hoops and developing their court skills, had a chance to pick up some basketball tips, as well as take part in drill and training from the Junior Knicks coaching staff. Participations got to hang out with Knicks alumni John Starks, Lattell Sprewell, and Larry Johnson. The former NBA stars participated in a 3-way shootout for the young players. Good stuff from MSC and their partnership with the New York Knicks. All right, that's going to end the news portion today, folks. Let's hop over and see who's fussing at me in the chat room. Kaleo Langley, not familiar with that name. She says hi. Kenneth's with us. Amy's here. Hi, Steve. Steve's here. Hot Air Tom's with us. Getaway is in Port Canaveral. I can see the Falcon Heavy on the launch pad with binoculars from our balcony. Should be a good viewing of the takeoff if the weather permits. Wow, that's cool. Keep a logbook for your elevator rides. I want to know how many full elevators arrive when you press the button and how many repeat tries you need until available car arrives. I had the same elevator system, of course, when I was on the Breakaway. I'm not real fond of the elevator system on the ships. The Escape was terrible, lots of full cars. I'm hoping the Joy booking in November has a much lower passenger load. Escape was at 5,200 or about 1,000 over full capacity at double occupancy. Yeah, that's a boatload. Sonny's with us down in Mississippi. Hi, Sonny. I don't think I mentioned a lady called me a miserable word I can't say on the air in the theater at the end of the choir of men. Her kid was talking very loudly when the show started, and when she didn't do anything, I said loudly, "Shut up." It worked, so I was happily able to listen to the show. And she called you a 4-letter. Oh, well, I don't disagree with that. I have been known, especially at shows, I've never yelled at kids. I never had to. But I've been known to jump in the face of people talking. Sonny says, Tom, good for you. I'm not disagreeing with that either, Sonny. I wish more people would speak up when the loudsters won't be quiet. Kids are not. Hot Air says, 2 things got my blood boiling in a show or movie: use of cell phones with a bright screen in the dark and loud talking. I will call you out. I don't disagree with either. Ships are too full for me right now, overbooking and trying to make up for lost money. Can't say I blame them, just too many people, and makes for an unhappy week. Katie's with us. It's morning all. There's Nikki. Greetings all. Checking in from my favorite dim sum restaurant. Oh, very nice. Sometimes the chicken feet just call your name. Yes, they do, Nikki. Hope everyone is well. Emily's here. Hello, everybody. Wow, I'm getting a frog in my throat today. Amy says, I think if I was that afraid of flying, I would stick to cruising areas where if I got sick and needed to go home, I could take a train, a bus, or rent a car. I agree. I mean, I hate to fly. But, I mean, if I have to, I can. But I do try not to. Although admittedly, this trip I'm flying. Last year I would have cruised, I would have driven. But we'll see. I have a friend on the sun, Cartagena. It's so hot to begin with, yikes, with no air. That's the first thing I saw too. Sitting there in Colombia with no air, because it was, when I was there, it was hot. And then they're going to go through, I have to get the air conditioning fixed before they go through the canal, because Panama's hot as hell too. How long did that last with no AC? As of this morning, about 6 o'clock, they were still in Cartagena. I haven't checked throughout the morning to see if they actually got moving. So, I mean, as far as I know, Emily, they still got no air conditioning. Mike popped in. Hey, Mike, how you doing? All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Don't forget, tomorrow, we got the Cruise Amigos at the normal time. And, of course, I'll be here at my regular time tomorrow. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for being with me. And I'll see everybody back here, same channel, same time, tomorrow morning. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.